lesson. All right. So what's up, YouTube gang? We're here for a Martin Luther King Day special. It is Sunday night, so not really Martin Luther King Day yet. But I figured we'd have a little lesson on chop, because when there's no volume, there tends to be a lot of chop. So at the current moment, right now, that purple did break our bullish candle. So it is going to be another retest and potential drop here. But this whole level area, this 31, the cross that happened up here at 41, this whole little block could be, people use liquidity stuff and everything like that. So this whole little block could be like a zone right here that you want to be cautious of until it breaks above all this. You want to see it break above and hold on to that top 43 spot. There's a good chance. All right, it's coming down already. Failed bullish move. But look at our 2 minute, right? The 2 minute, is giving us a bit of a setup here potentially, but it's going to fill in some of this blue candle here. Our 5 minute has, this could come back all the way down to 390, 400 maybe. Let's watch. So where these crosses happen, if you're looking at the 1 minute, the 1 minute is my favorite area to define chop. Like I said, right? Where I drew this box is basically between where these crosses are. So you see that cross above here at 441. You see that cross below here at 434. Kind of got stuck in there for a little bit, right? And let me redraw the box, right? Because the box is a better visual. So I love the little boxes, right? Sauce box and everything. The box is like a nice little visual. Try to pop out. Kind of goes above, failed 3Z, kind of bounced back and forth. And there's the break below. So again, right, this gave you the break and retest of a failed bullish move here. Much cleaner, lower risk than what we saw before, right? This guy over here, this one's risky. It is getting a little bit wicky over here, right, Dom? Oh, that's the silver Dom. Never mind. I have the wrong Dom up. Let me go to MQ. Sorry. The Dom isn't going that fast. It is going pretty fast for low volume, so it's not super low volume. Right here, it gave us the break and a retest. Your stop loss would have been above the purple candle, right? About 6 points. Over here, this is much bigger. Not a big fan of it. Again, this one's kind of a bigger break as well, so not a huge fan of either one. But this one looks worse than that one. Lower risk on this one. Break and retest. And if you got in at 34, you had a 6-7 point stop loss. 34, that gave you your 10 points. So 1-for-1 scalp right there on that break. Over here, these big guys I'm not a fan of. Obviously, it did come back. Did not pounce up strong enough. Pulled back. Got stuck. Nice little blue. Failed bullish. Right back underneath that previous line as well, right? So if you can kind of combine confluences, you can kind of see scalping opportunities lined up. Okay. Now, obviously, my big confluence is the sauce box. I know I have a sauce box there. So that's the other part I'm watching out for. The shorts are looking a little, the shorts are looking better overall. It's just, it's stuck between two boxes right now. It's stuck between two zones. So we also have a level down here at 93. And you have a level down here at 84. Right? This level held twice so far. 2 times. So right now, let's look at the 2 minute. Right? One thing I'm looking at is obviously the 2 minute set of downtrend. And so is the 5 minute. So if I'm looking at my higher time frame, here's some chicken for you guys about market structure. This could be potential lower high if I'm looking at the 5 and the 2, right? So I'm being cautious though, because why? 2 of things, right? We got that big blue guy. The action lines on the 5 minute are still trying to catch up, right? This was a little bit of a cross up that did give you a tiny push, came back, broke below it, then pushed right back above it, and you can kind of see what happened, right? When it broke back over 416, it came down to 421, popped back up, good 20 points, did it again, and then now it's testing this area again, right? That same 418 right here. This is where you want to see where the previous lines were, because they're the current center point until the lines can form a new level, right? Same goes with the 1, same goes with the 2. I don't look at the 2 minute a whole lot. I look at the 2 minute on NQ for the added confluence. Kind of like that, I went over that on Friday, right? With that short, when all 3 lined up, ding, 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 the 5 minute confirmed it, dropped down to a level, and then kind of bounced. So, okay, same kind of thing. So right now, until all 3 align, there's no solid move. The 5 minute, obviously, is still very spread out. It looks like it wants to go down more than go up. All right. What's up, Rod? Any movement would have today. Nobody would, unless you tell them. what they are unless you tell them. They're still at the top. I hit the bottom. Surprise. A plus on the 2 minute. Yeah, the 2 minute is not an A plus actually. If you look closely, it crossed in front. Right? It crossed in front. So you have to take away a plus. The A plus plus is when it crosses in the center or right behind. Because you get the proper entry. Your entry is the candle closure. This one, you wouldn't have a really good entry if the move obviously the move didn't fully go. This candle did pop up a little bit and it popped up again. So on these particular retests, right, I like if the level's strong, it should hold. I like to have my stop above the level rather than the candle because if it does retest it, it's going to be a potential hard break. But this ended up, playing out okay. 32 gave you 20 points. That's freaking actually really nice if you just had the level 5 point risk. Even if you put it up a little higher, about 10 point risk. So it wasn't actually a really bad setup. But again, I'm cautious with the crosses in front. It just makes it like it takes away a plus and a half, I would say. So you want to be aware where the crosses happen. You want to be aware of the candle size. Right now, it's contesting this whole blue. It's contesting the 5 minute blue, right? That's what it's doing. The 1 minute had this little tiny blue before that explosion right here. You had that little tiny blue at 401 and it popped. I have Saucebox Confluence down below. I got in on this long. I added on the hold of 93 on an eval with 15 micros and wrote it up to the next Saucebox, which is around here. So at the moment, we're just kind of hanging out in between these two zones, back and forth, back and forth. Looks like it might be waiting for some volume to kick in. 8 o'clock. I was thinking 8 o'clock might have had a little bit more volume because we are in Tokyo now. So it's kind of just like barely moving. But that might be because we are on a holiday. So it's important to be cautious on a holiday. This was a big, I wasn't expecting this much of a gap down. Like, that's a huge gap down. That's 200 some points. I thought we kind of maybe gap down a little bit and like kind of stay up there. But nope. Huge gap down. And there's a potential. I obviously have a sauce box down here too, and I got to get rid of these because this is quantum stuff. So, it's locked. But I know I have levels there as well, right? I have levels right down here at this 300. So if this does break this stack of levels around here at 380, 390, there's room for it to come down quite a bit. That 380 on the 2 minute over here. This is where it's held, right? You got this little bunch of 1 minute and 2 minute levels right there. That 1 minute and 2 minute. And then the next area would be all the way down at 300, which you would have a few levels there as well. There's also a 2 minute level down at 290. If it does get down there, like I said, right now, it's just chopping around. Maybe tomorrow, who knows? Who knows if the volume's going to kick in enough? But we will see. There's room for both sides, but right now it is stuck between 461, 393. Pushing down. Obviously, the 5 minute, right, is got to break below 18 again. If it breaks below 18, there, like it's doing right now, it's going to contest the rest of potentially that blue candle right here. All the way down to that 98, potentially. Right? And this is how I read stuff. Like, I'm going over exactly how I read it. That center point right here where that cross was for me, that's an area. Right? And then again, if you're looking at the 1 minute, where is it bouncing? Right? Where was the previous cross over here? Right here. At 408. And then you have this little bunch, 408, 403, 394. So it has to break through that little box again, right? You have all these crosses over here in the zone as well. So then it needs to come back through that as well to potentially hit that level. All these little things, right? This is where I tend to like really be patient with trying to play anything within the zone. Because I know this was a previous chop area with the action lines crossing over multiple times. Then you have these levels below. So for me, nothing until it breaks really 380. But there's a chance that this could keep kind of bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I want to be patient. The bottom of the blue on the 5 is 392, 498. So let's see what happens here. Looks like it's currently trying to bounce off that area, but that was a weak bounce. So almost like if you guys pay attention during Power Hour on Friday, right? I wait for level reaction for MOC. And then I look at how strong the reaction is on the level. MOC short was pretty easy because when it tested the level, it was really weak. Like it pulled up and it had like zero momentum. And then it paused and then it dropped. And then it bounced off a level, came all the way back up, tested it one more time, broke it once, broke back below it, and then it dropped again. So this is kind of like the opposite thing, right? Broke it before, it broke it, it went down, broke it before. Now guess what it's doing? It's coming back to test it, right? Again, right? Let me visually draw it because this is something that helps with the visuals. Look where it bounced. Like this is again, right? This isn't guessing. This isn't, oh, where are we gonna do this? Where are we gonna do that? This whole area is an area like you could draw it like an FVG or whatever people want to call them, right? The quantum zones are their own little unique zones. It's this is something that is like super unique, and when I finished my presentation for the event, right? I have to dry run it this week, and it's funny how I was going over some setups and stuff, and I'm like, this defies a lot of what like ICT traders look at. This defies a lot of what like other people would say is normal, and if that makes any sense. Like some of the things that I've like seen and what I read off of this versus what the biases are from others, this like the setups on this override theirs a lot of the time. So like when I hear everyone else's biases, I ignore it and I go off of my own because I trust it. I hope that makes sense. All right, let me go through some of the chat. Sell at the top, buy at the bottom, surprise A plus. Open was a big gap. Yep, that 5-minute close and crosses under the blue. What did it buy? Yeah, use crossing down. Yeah. All right, so right now it came back down again to test it again. That whole little area, right? That 408, bouncing off of it again. 2-minute, 5-minute, like this whole little area right there is an area. This 5-minute needs to close above 416 though. That 416 is now an area, right? Same thing where the previous crosses were. That becomes your little chop zone. So if it cannot break over 416, it's a good chance it's going to keep testing this whole thing. All right, there's a nice little pop over 416. All right, let's see. All right, and look at what your action lines are doing. They're pulling up. This crosses and breaks and closes above 420, 421. Good chance we're going to come back up and test some of that drop. This previous area at 34 and 40. Let's watch. There's actually some decent volume right now. I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised how much volume there is right now. Because I thought this was going to be way more dead. And it's not. There it goes. Immediate pop. Like, sometimes there's no entry. Oh, look, there's Big Blue. Ooh, wow. Wow. Sweet. ATR is 15. Is it really? It's at 10 right now. But yeah, it looked like it got up to... Yeah, it was up there earlier. Yeah, it was up there earlier. Oh, look at that, right? Cross in front. So the move is technically already in progress. Blue on the 2. You want to see this start holding above this 16 area again. If it does come back to retest, you're going to have a level at 421. You want it to stay above that. But you saw how that popped over. 416 shot up immediately. 15 points. If I was paying attention, I would have probably tested that with a 5-point stop loss. Anytime I play like level reaction, level breaks, I always keep my stops 5 points because there's a good chance if it pulls back, it's going to fail. And I don't want to risk more than 5. And they usually break, right? 0 pullback on that break of 416, just 0. Your stop would have been literally 5 points, 6 points, whatever you wanted. And there you go, like just launches. And there's, different ways to play. Obviously, you guys have to be able to trust what you see and forward test. Forward test, forward test, forward test. Right? That's the only way I can make the reads that I read, and that's the only way that people are going to be able to actually follow me doing what I'm doing. Power hour, everything. Look at that, still going. Still going. Held, right? The 5-minute close over 416, and then it pushed up almost 10 points. Not quite, but very close. And now where is our next area where we might see some resistance? That 437, right? 433. All the way up to 441. Right? The 437, you have that 2-minute level, so we can draw that same little box right here, right? Where the crosses were. Okay. And again, right? I don't do this. Like, I only do this for you guys because I feel like if you're a visual learner like me, this is going to help you guys. I don't do this because I can see it already. And I always forget. This is the part of, like, the teacher part where I come back and I have to be like, oh, yeah. I see it, but I should really show you guys the visuals so you guys can start seeing And this is how I find out where these previous points are, right? Very, very, very reminiscent of the sauce box. It's not the sauce box. It's not the sauce box. This is just how I read these cross zones, right? Look where it bounced, right? This was the previous cross zones over here. That's where it decided to come up and bounce. Created a little bit of a structure point, right? Now your 2 minute formed a potential high or low. So here, you're gonna wait until it can break through here, right? If you caught that little bounce of 416, I'm gonna get out of it probably around here. If I leave a runner, one runner, right, I will leave the stop back below maybe 420. If I have the runner, if I don't want to give too much back, I'm gonna put it at break even, right? 420 or 416 would have been the entry of the break with a 5 point stop loss. Obviously it gave you that immediate reaction, and look where it's pausing, right? You have the purple candle, you have all those cross zones. So now we're standing here, and we're going to see if this 21 minute gets challenged or not, or if it's going to break in. Ooh, little gap right there. Look, it left a little gap. Look at this. Oh yeah, filled it immediately. That little tiny gap, it popped up and it filled it immediately. All right, now it needs to hold that area and continue to break through, and then you're going to have the potential if it gets over 441. Let me delete that guy now. All right, here goes. It's like magic. I fucking love this thing, guys. This is like magic. I love doing this shit so much, and I love when I'm reading it live and you guys are like, it just happens over and over and over again. The way that I read it, the way that I hope you guys start learning how to read it, right? But where is it contesting? 441. Needs to break that 441, and you start seeing all these things line up, and you see these strong points of interest areas. If they hold, you're going to have a potential area to play a little bounce, a little scalp here and there, right? But you got to be able to control the stops. And do they always play out? It varies on how the volume's going, right? You want good ATR. You want the move to go. You don't want to get wicked out of nowhere, because that occasionally it might happen here and there. And I always play it with 5 point stop losses on these kind of like, okay, if it breaks through 16, I don't want it to pull back, because if it breaks under 16, right, it's going to be failed. So I'm not going to risk too much on it. And if it breaks through 16 and it holds, it should run. That's literally what we just saw, right? 5 minute closed over 16, it ran. The 1 minute also kind of gave us the confluence with the potential cross up. Now, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for it to break this guy. That 441, you have that cross right there, and the purple candle, right? And then on the 2 minute, you have that, yeah, it's lined up almost at the exact same area. The 2 minute is lined up right below, or right on it, right? The same area. 441, 25. Then after that, where do we have after that, right? You have that 5 minute purple all the way up at 470. Right up here, 470. Then that's your next area for potential reverse or resistance, right? You also have that 1 minute level actually right here at 461. So if it pops through 441, 461, breaks through 461, 470. Okay. Now we can wait and watch. If anybody got in on this, good. But again, I didn't trade it. I didn't get in on it. This is kind of like a little pop-up study session here. You want it to close above. Dom's going crazy up here. It's 20 seconds. 2 minutes trying to point across up too. It's time to break this level and form another cross. This needs to close above 441 and a quarter. The bigger the close over, the better for me. All right. Been prepping to leave for Louisiana. Ooh. You're going to Louisiana, Sam? What's taking you to Louisiana? All right, they're closed above. All right, now you want to see it respect that 440 area. You don't want to see it pull back inside. You want to see it hold, and you want to see it go. All right, you want to see the next candle either kind of test it and close above, or you don't want to see it pull back at all. All right, level plays are the exact same as range plays. Right, it's like a nice break. Stop loss will be below the breaking candle. Right, it's the same thing. I'm repetitive. Now you'll want to see if this will just run up to that 60 area. There's no other purples on the one. Okay, you have one right here actually. At 448.50, right here. You got that little guy right here. Did not zoom out on the one. You have this right here at 448.50 that also needs to break. So it could get stuck in here. Nothing on the 2. And then the 5 would be all the way up there. All right. Good thing I zoomed out to check. All right. There's the next little area. Currently a little wick. All right. I'm still on 2 minutes. That's my good, normal, nothing crazy. I was going to ask if you would take that. Take what? Or this thing down here? The 416? Yeah, I would have taken the 416, absolutely. No. Now you want to see it break through that guy, right? That's the first wick. You want to see it hold above 440, then you want to see it break through 448. Then you want to see it kind of push up. Let's see if it does it. If it gets stuck in here for a little bit, breaks back below, we're going to get stuck in another potential range area. You want it to hold and break that. All right. Yeah, it's actually juicy. Wait, juice? I don't even know what to do this. My dad is getting surgery all day. Prayers for your dad, Sam. Prayers to your dad, brother. Oh, yes. This is why I always take the watch. Ooh, there we go. Come on, break through it. This is why you always watch the purple and the blue candles. This is all new stuff for me. Oh, is it Nick Riff? Yeah. The only candles I look at are the blues and purples. The only other candles I care about. Look at that rejection, right? You want it to see a break and close. Hard rejection. So yes, this is all I look at are the blues and purples. I don't care about any of the other candles until they contest those areas. So right now, right, you have that break right here. This is the only candle I cared about out of all these other candles because this broke that purple, right? Now, that was an attempt to break through 48. It hit 51, right? And immediately rejecting. Now it's breaking down below, right? This line is technically gone. And oh, look, a new purple candle. So now you're going to have a new guiding point for a new area. So now you have this 61 and all the way back down to test this 421. And now you're going to have a new potential. If it does come back and crosses down, right, breaks through 21, then 16, then potentially more move down. But again, right, look at market structure. You can kind of see what it's building. 2 minute, 2 minutes giving me a sell. Ooh. On the 5 minute, it kind of looks like a little bit of an orby orb. Not like centered because of this thing here, but you got the bottom of the blue over here that needs to break for it to go down further. Uh-oh. If it breaks 421, what time is it? 8:19. Ooh, bounce right off 422 right now. Nice 10-point bounce right off 422. Didn't quite hit it all the way. If this level's going to hold, you don't want to see it pull back down. You want to see it really, yeah, there you go. You want to see it really contest and push up and break this and contest some of that purple candle. Oh, I have the trend off on my 5 minute. I need that trend. I need to see the higher time frame trend. Ooh, pulled right back down. Okay, let's see. Where's the trend transparency? I want to see at 90. I want to see my higher time frame. I know it's going to be a downtrend. All right, immediately contested that whole wick. So that's pretty bearish, but needs to break through 21. That 2 minute was an A++ setup. It was an A++ setup. There was a bit of an advanced read right there. Your stop loss would be above the break of the level rather than the candle because that adds another almost 15, 16 points to it. And there's the move, 10 points already. If it breaks 21, it'll pull down to 16. There it is. All right, let's see. That's a weakish bounce. It needs to break that. Look at that wick touch. Like literally right on it. But that was not a strong bounce at all. Now we could get stuck between 21 and 37. But that bounce was pretty weak. So let's see if this thing sets up for a 3Z down or if it's going to start just ranging in here. The 5 minute looks like it wants to go down. It does, but it needs to break through that 390 and then 380. Then it has a shit ton of room. Crap ton of room. I need to start I need to start watching my language for my YouTube videos. All right, there, broke 421. Ooh, all right, broke right through 416. Now, will it hold below? Look at that. Wow, that 2 minute was a clean A++. Almost 30 points. Who caught that guy? Did any of you guys caught that guy? That was low risk, too. If you played the level, that was like 5, 6 point risk. That's crazy. But you can see how these setups, right? You have the 1 minute kind of lined up, the 2 minute lined up. The 5 minute is the only one that's kind of slacking. But if you can see, if it starts breaking 390, 380, that will start forming that kind of triple move. But they're kind of far apart at the moment. What a drop! Wow, that was a clean 2 minute candle, right? I will make this side note. I do like the 2 minute setups during Asia. During low volume, the 2 minute are pretty dang clean. So I'll add that to it, right? You had one over here. You have that second one. This one's too big. Don't play that one. I wouldn't play that one. Kind of could have played it over here a little bit for an advanced read setup, but not a big fan of those on the 2 minute. But this was a clean, wow, like literally level to level on the 2 minute. Look at that. That hit 99.50. Next level will be 93.50. 5 minute closes below the 16, same thing. Then you need to see a break below 393. So you have all these little areas. 393 also lines up with this 1 minute level. Breaks through that. You have that next level at 84. So the 80 pocket will need a break. All right. How's QS been with silver? Oh man, it's been great. Like I play the 1 minute. Like obviously you want to avoid these big guys, right? This is 8 o'clock volume. Look at the 8 o'clock volume, right? Avoid opening. If you're trading metals, avoid market opens. They kick in volume and you get these big FU candles. But look at this, right? The quantum candles, the levels, right? That candle held beautifully. Boom. Pushed up, tried, nope. And right now it's holding on to this level at 384. If it holds on to it, it'll contest that. If it doesn't, it's going to come back down a little bit. All right, the 2 minute is just looking ugly to me. The 5 minute is uptrending on silver. So I'd be cautious taking any deep shorts, but it could, right? If things line up. It's holding on to this actually. If you look where this 5 minute crossed right here at 93.82, it is currently trying to break back below it, and same rules apply. But this is all-time highs on silver right now, isn't it? It is. It is. So be cautious at all-time highs on anything. On anything. Gold, silver, anything. You want to be cautious, but so far that thing held. All right, you got the 2 minute lined up with it as well over here at that 94.14. All right, look at this gold, right? Gold short. All right, if you wouldn't have gotten stopped on that push up, respected the candle as well, respecting the levels. You see the respect of the levels. Boom, boom, boom. All right, 2 minute level formed. Metals respect the levels. Like they really respect the levels. And you start watching it, you start seeing it over and over and over again. All right. So with silver, like silver with quantum has been just so clean for me. Just so clean. That's why I've been making a killing with silver. But silver minis are scary. All right. NQ. Look at NQ. Just trying to break that 98. All right. The 5 minute did close below 16. Now you want to see it stay below 16. And let's see if we make that push to that 98, 93 area. If it does. Right. The 5 minute is still, right? This literally just formed a 5 minute range right here. Here's your 5 minute range. Here's the top of the purple candle that just formed. And let's put the blue right there, right here, right? There's your 5 minute range right now between 435.75 and 392 exactly, it looks like, or in a quarter. Now, you can draw that on the 1 minute if you want to. You can get a pretty good gauge of what the lines might potentially do in that area. So this is what that'll look like on your 1 minute, right? That bottom side is attached to this level here. So I want to see if this holds that level or if it doesn't, right? You want the lines to kind of keep up. You want to see them kind of start holding up a little bit. But this is definitely looking very ugly. In terms of structure, this looks horrible. Like, it doesn't know what it wants to do. It's made, well, on the 5 minute, it made a new lower high. On the 2 minute, it's all over the place. On the 1 minute, it's also all over the place. So it looks like it's kind of respecting the higher time frame trend, which is down. Needs to break through these, though. Da-da-da. All right, let's see. All right, all right, Nick Riv, what was the question there? Was there a question for that little chart you put up? I'm going to add it to the student chat too. Let me know if he gets questions to my question. I got to dip. All right. All right, let's see. I'm not sure. Just trying to figure that out. Totally, where's the top? I'm not sure. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I'm totally. Where's the top and the bottom of the box? Oh, it's on the crosses. Yes, good stuff. Yeah, so it'd be on the crosses. So you want to look where the crosses are, right? You want to see where the crosses are, and where the crosses form, where the back right. This whole zone right here. This is where that area would be. Let me get rid of that line. Let me get rid of some of the lines. So where the crosses bunch up, that's a zone. Okay, just like here, right? You got a bunch of cross here, cross there, cross down there, right? This whole thing is a zone, right there, right? Cross to cross, right? You got a level below, and look where we're at. Oh, we came back to that zone, right? Up here, right? It was over here, right here. Started here, ended here, right? Where the two crosses formed, right here. One cross, two cross. Okay, I think that was what the question was. So you have that cross here, you have that cross there. That's your little zone right there. All right, broke above, tried to go. Obviously, you had a level. You had another purple candle that was fighting, right? That guy right here, this guy held. And this is how you're cautious, right? If you're scalping, you're going to be very cautious. Held that purple, broke right back down, and now it's bouncing back off that zone, that previous zone. Man, back and forth, potentially. But I don't like to have, again, right? I can visually see them in my head because I know where they're at, but I don't like to have them, especially when I have like my regular sauce boxes, which it looks like we're literally bouncing between the sauce boxes. I have a sauce box up here and I have a sauce box down here, and it's literally going back and forth, and the zones almost line up with it. So there's a lot of confluences until this can hold and break above and then break that level above. Then we go down. Same thing going down. All right. Again, right? This is contesting a big purple in the 5 minute, so don't expect it to have strength to push up too much, right? There was a little bit of a scalpy opportunity from 4016, not even 10 points yet. So if this cannot hold over 409, this is going to come back and retest this whole little area. And this is why, right, when I see these curls with levels, right, sometimes you're going to lose some, right? If you play them when they're far away. It's obviously far away. Could this still play out? Maybe. But again, we don't predict the future, right? We're kind of reading what could possibly happen. I love it when they're closer to the level. When they're closer to the level, it gives me a little bit more guidance versus it's kind of like it still has a good like 5 points of breathing room to come back down and test that level, right? Does it mean it's going to do it? No. If it's a strong area, it might pull back up and test some of that like it's doing right now. And when I play these kind of curls, my stop loss is below the curl. And it looks like it's going. It's tried to go at least. Now you want to see this 1 minute candle hold above 407, 408, right? Where there's our blue. All right, there it goes. Right, but it needs to continue. This is a cross below, so this is going to make this setup like an A minus, maybe B. Crosses below needs to hold above 407. Right now, it is failing to kind of hold. This could easily flip the other way and not end up blue. But if this holds above 407, closes, maybe you'll get a push. But again, this makes it risky because it crosses below. But you see how they start appearing. They start appearing at these areas. And that's what I'm interested in. Look at that. Failed. Now it's no longer blue. So that's pretty much looking bearish to me at the moment, unless it can hold that 407. I'd like to see it get closer to that level below. The 5 minute looks like it wants to 3-bar down potentially, but if this holds that 407, it still has a shot. For the time being, it failed. All right. So hopefully that cleared up where those zones are, right? Like those where the crosses all bunch up. That's what I'm looking at from this 408 all the way down to 393 where I have this level. That's a whole little area. You can see how it's kind of testing it. It's holding it. It's going up. Right? It's trying to hold on to all of that. All that applies with any area where there's multiple crosses within an area, right? Just something to add to your little visualizations of where the chops and where the chop zones are, where the chop zones basically are. I've gone over this in some of my old videos, but when I go back, there's I have so many videos. I don't blame you guys for not being able to watch them all. There's hours and hours of the same thing, and I probably mentioned this in a handful of them, and then I don't mention it again because then I go straight to like the routine stuff, and then I'm just like, you know what, I should mention that again because that's something to keep an eye on. Everyone asks how to be cautious with chop and range. That's how to be cautious, where you watch for those zones to form, those cross after cross, especially when they're very close to each other, like they're within a few points. Then that's an area to keep an eye for. And when they all kind of cross a bunch in one little area and then kind of pull down, there's a bunch in area, I'm going to sit on my hands because that whole little spot is now just going to be a chunk of back and forth. And if it's tight, right, if there's like 10, 15 points between the two, then there's no movement. You're going to get eaten up there. But that's just like a whole little added thing to the strategy. But that's, again, right, what do I like to see? I like to see when the lines are flowing. When they flow, it's easy. When they flow, and that flow comes with volume, comes with just nice price movement around levels, and it was doing that for a good amount of time. I had a little flow here, a little flow here. This is where it kind of got ugly, and then they kind of started flowing a little bit, and then kind of got ugly, started flowing a little bit, right? It got a little ugly here, nice little flow, and then potentially could start getting ugly. The 2 minutes been flowing a lot better, right? Obviously the opening ugly, and then they started locking in, and then they started flowing a little bit, flowing, right? 5 minute looks horrendous. The 5 minute looks freaking horrible to me. Right? I wouldn't look at anything on the 5 until I get a little bit of obviously to me the 5 minute wants to cross down so it can calibrate itself. So but it could still pull up some. That's the thing. It'll pull up some to kind of get like itself into shape, and then it'll cross down, and then it might try to flip right back up immediately. But if this breaks below this 90, we could get that cross down coming. For the time being, it is respecting that area. Look at that, right back to 416. Held 406. There's a break of a bearish. Your 2 minutes pulling up as well. And this is your whole little chop zone right there, right? There's little areas for potential scalping and back and forth, and that's how I eat in the chop. A few 10 points here, 10 points there, and it's moving tonight. Like, it's actually moving very well. You don't get 10-point scalp opportunities like this during Asia. All right. That's why I always have to watch the purple and blue candles. This is all new stuff to me. Is this being able to previous explanation of the EMA cross the straight juice when you draw it? Yeah. Only again, you only draw them out like when, like, again, they're in the tight spot, like when they're literally just tight, curling and tight. That whole area becomes an area to keep an eye out for. Totally on the top and bottom of the box we draw. So, Sam, that might be something we could kind of add as a side note in the manual. And I know there's a lot of visual learners, so those like things help. Javi, when you go to do a stream with the hat, I bet you look hot without the hat. Because when I do it without the hat this ROM, I get the shine. You see the shine? I used to do the show and stuff without the hat, and then the shine would be, everybody was like, oh, too shiny, oh, too shiny. And that's why I wear hats. Because now there's no shine. That's literally the only reason I started wearing hats. And I had our guy that makes our merch. I ordered a bunch of hats. I ordered baseball caps. I ordered the bucket hats, the beanies, and I fell in love with the bucket hat. Like, I fell in love with this thing when he gave it to me. When he sent it to me, I ordered one of each hat to see which one I like. I love the beanies, but the bucket hat, I fell in love with this thing especially because I ordered the large, and I have never had extra large. So it's extra large. I've never ordered one that has fit my head, and this thing fit my head so perfectly, and I loved it. And then we added the stitching in the back, so now I got the little stitching in the back. So, like, this thing is, I love this thing. I love this thing to death. Like, oh man. So that's why I wear hats. Literally, the only reason I wear hats is to take that shine away. And in my previous room, the light would shine off my head, like because the light was literally like almost right above my head, so it would like light up the whole top dome. was was the two previous. How do you draw those yellow boxes? Oh, so if you guys don't know how to draw the boxes right, you guys would see it here as a paintbrush. It will look at like this. It will be a paintbrush first. You click on that. You go to rectangle, right? I have my favorites on the toolbar up here. Obviously, you get rectangle, and when you first do this, this is what it's going to look like. All right, it's going to look like this. All right, when you first draw it out, it's going to look like this. You're going to have to extend it, right? It's going to be a different color, right? You're going to go to your settings. You're going to pick extend to right. If you don't want to auto extend it yourself, that's up to you. And then you could add a midline if you want, and then you could do the background, right? Bright yellow. You could do black, so there's nothing. You can do white. You can pick whatever color you want, and that's how you do that, right? Midline black, and then you could add text if you want. You can do whatever you want on there. So that's how you do the little yellow box. Boom. Dang, that thing held beautifully. Like still in the chop zone, right? This whole area, this is how I eat in the chop. So you guys really get to learn it like really well, right? And again, right, my confluences for this area down here too, invisible to you guys, but again, I know I have a sauce box down here. So I have a sauce box in this chop zone. I have that level, and then I have this potential for scalping until it breaks through. And once it breaks through, I'm going to look for potential on the other side. But again, I wait for my lines to give me my guide. All right, the 2 minute is currently breaking down. Now we got another purple, right? We're building a lot of bearish barriers here, right? You got that purple guy up here, right? You're going to have this guy now. All right, you got that. You got a lot of bearish barriers. You only got a few bullish ones. You got that 5 minute candle down there. You got this blue candle right here, and then that one at 396. So it's getting tight. It's getting really tight for me, right? Tight in between the levels, tight in between this zone, and now it's going to start looking like nothing I want to trade anymore. Like nothing, it looks like it's a tradable for me. The tighter it gets, the more condensed everything becomes, the less area for me to play. And then guess what? I'm going to sit on my hands until it opens up. Once it starts opening it up, or I see the setup between the 1 and the 5 lining up, then I might have an opportunity. But for the time being, this is starting to get really tight, really condensed, and I don't like it. So then I might sit on my hands. Right? This is something that you guys are going to have to learn to do on your own. When you guys start seeing it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, this is getting really tight. Do I have movement here? No. Let me wait for that clean setup. Let me wait for all 3 to line up. Let me wait for the 1 and the 5 to line up. And then you can play off of that. But when it starts getting like this, where the 1 wants to cross down, the 2 wants to cross up, the 5 looks like it's all over the place, and it wants to cross down if it's going to calibrate itself, but it could go wherever direction at the time being, then guess what? There's no big potential play movement, and you want to sit on your hands. And that is saving capital. That is saving your account. That is not blowing accounts, and that is okay to do. Okay? I scalp when there's room to scalp. When there's no room to scalp, I sit on my hands. You know, that's a part of it. You have to know when to sit on your hands. All right, when you are surrounded by levels, sit on your hands. All right. How do you draw those yellow boxes? Okay, made 50 on the rejection with 3 micros. There you go, Zerdro. How's QS with silver? It's amazing. Yeah, but I'm retarded with need reference something with test, forward test, right now. Questions? All right, awesome. I'm going to add that to the student chat too. 2 minutes is cooking tonight. Yep, 2 minute is cooking tonight. You're right. Which holds more weight? Gold ranges, candle ranges, or the cross ranges? The cross ranges, when they happen, those will hold more weight, but they usually line with candles. So you're either going to look at those zones on the 5 minute or the particular 1 minute, right? Here, obviously, you had a level below. So you still want to keep your confluences in line. Obviously, you had this whole area here. So this whole area looks funky, right? You had that level right below at 384. Wick down, closed right back above, launched itself back up, right? But then what did it do? It got stuck right in that previous zone, right? It got stuck right in here. So you guys, like, this is the part where you guys can start narrating it just like I do and start seeing it, right? If it holds this level, where is it going to go back to? It's going to go back into that zone. And if it breaks that zone, then it has some room to run. Obviously, this was an explosion out of nowhere. 738. I don't even know what caused that. It doesn't seem like a time where there's going to be volume, just random explosion up, right? And then it came back to the previous area where it was, right? This little zone right here that got created, that was within about 15, 16 points where there was multiple crosses, right? You had two crosses here, and then that previous zone, right, that previous cross there, that could be a little zone for you. Okay? That right there, right? Where it's been rejecting. And look what it's doing, back and forth, back and forth. It's testing more of this. That's what I look at when I see those areas of chop or back and forth levels. The level above is holding. There was that level below. All right. That's that purple candle. Again, right? You're getting more barriers. You're getting more bearish barriers. Right? Look at that. You got purple candle, purple candle. So these two candles need to be broken before it can move up further. Now, for now, it's just getting tighter and tighter. And if it breaks 406, that's your next move, potentially. All right, 393, 398. Currently, this 2 minute, the tippy tip break. I don't like those tippy tip breaks on the 2 minute, right? That purple candle broke this blue candle by the tippy tip. I don't play the tip game. I want it to be a good candle closure. So I don't even look at the 2 minute that much, right? I just wait for all three to align with the 2 minute. But you can kind of see the same patterns over and over and over again on every single time frame. This has to break this 1 minute level. All right, silver minis. Oh, damn, wingnut. You animal. Damn, dude. Yeah, minis is nuts, man. You're either going to pass the account in a second or you're going to blow the account in 1 second. When you play minis, 2 minutes cooking is approaching sauce box. Yeah, Scarface, it is. Yeah, it's between two sauce boxes right now. Which holds more weight, cold ranges or the when the range is regular, right? When you just have the candles ranging by themselves without crosses all over the place, the candles. I think I was kind of going over that, right? But when you have these zones where the crosses happen multiple times within, of course, all right. When the crosses happen within multiple areas, that whole little area, if it's within like 10, 15 points, becomes an area. It's a little area to keep an eye on. Are levers considered invalid if a candle closes through them? Yes. So 1 minute candles break 1 minute levels, 2 minute candles break 2 minute levels, 5 minute candles break 5 minute levels. That's how that works. So only a 5 minute candle can break a 5 minute candle. That's it. I mean, a 5 minute level candle. And the same thing with the candles, right? If you're using the candles, right? Only a 5 minute candle needs to break through this blue to make that blue candle invalid. There's consistency at TS. In TPT Pro, no. There's zero consistency. But there is intraday drawdown, so be careful. Silver mini is crazy, absolutely. Are the cross after cross ranges slightly different than the blue? They are, but again, I don't play those, right? I don't play those, so I want to make that clear. I don't play those cross ranges as ranges. I play them as an area to keep an eye out, right? If it does break above, there's room for it to go. Yes, almost similar to the quantum candle ranges, but you have to still be aware of levels, right? You had a level above, you also had another purple candle. So you have to be cautious of that. You always have to be aware of that. And if it, obviously it reversed there and created its own another little barrier of a purple, then it came down. So you always have to kind of keep an eye of where these zones are and where they could potentially come back. So don't always play those as like range breaks without the candle confirmation. You want to see it break the purples. There's no other purples, then it has room to run to the next level. Potentially, right? Not it's a level strong, it's not going to touch it. Right, look at this. Look, we got a cross over here. You're going to get another cross over here. This whole 406, 408, it's adding to this here back here. It's making it a little deeper now. All right, this is an A++ setup, actually. Right here. This needs to hold above 406. Let's see if it retests it a little bit. But again, right, how much room does it have from here? It doesn't have enough room for me to take this. From 410 to 418. It's not enough room for me. Right? Could it go? Potentially, but it doesn't have enough room. It's still in this tight kind of chop zone. It is an A++ setup. Maybe if it comes back to retest, just needs to hold over 400. It'll look a little bit better. Then you have a little bit of room from there. If it holds 406. If it tests down there, let's see. It's coming down right now. And this needs to close above it. and then that level will lock in. The Dom's not reacting really. I don't see any. Okay, now it's speeding up a little bit. It's kind of there. His candle's gonna close above it. Looks like it's already pushing. So that came down to 07. You still hold that. Let's see what the 2 minutes looking like. 2 minutes still not liking it. 5 minute obviously still not liking it. That was a weak bounce. Not looking really solid for me. Again, doesn't have a lot of room to go up. But from here, the risk is about 5-ish, 6 points. But I'm not super convinced on this at all. Looks like it's going to break right here. Or not. Oh, it's getting wicky. It is getting wicky. No, it's going to close below 406. Yep, it's going to close below. Could not hold. Still within range. Ooh. And now another push down. Again, right? The 5 minute is trying to cross down. Immediately broke down. Now, if it stays under 406, the opposite's in play. But that whole area, this whole area is stuck inside. So there's like nothing clean here. I don't have room to the downside. I don't have room to the upside. This is where you sit on your hands. If you're playing these moves, there's a chance you're going to get eaten up back and forth, if you're not waiting for the tops or the bottoms for potential range plays. But right now, this is getting tighter and tighter, right? Look at it. It comes back, breaks 406. It's going to contest that same area right now. All right, you got that level at 93. The 5 minute, again, the 5 minute needs to break under 390. So this whole area right here, 408, 406. Look at cross after cross after cross. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this whole area right here currently. And look how tight this is. It's just tight. Obviously, there's way more room down than up at the moment. And it's still look. Okay, so if we redraw that previous area, right? Obviously, it's within it right now. It's just ugly. Like that little zone is inside this little zone. It's just ugly. This is looking so freaking ugly to me. Right? Look, let's see if it crosses back above. Look at that. See, this is where you go to get your account killed. No room. It's just going back and forth, back and forth. It's going to form another cross. So this whole area right here, this 400, this whole 400 area is an area. Back and forth, back and forth. Cross after cross after cross. 2 minute held that 98 level. I'm not seeing much on the Dom. Unless it breaks over 416. Dom's barely moving, so this could just get stuck here. What time is it? It is 8:50. Back down she goes. You see this? See this? Back down she goes. Back and forth. Look at that. Right? And somebody was asking me this the other day, right? How to avoid false signals. Right here. In this tight spot. You have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go up. You have very little to go down. So you're going back and forth. You're getting a buy, then a sell. A buy, and a sell. That's kind of that 406. This whole little area right here is your center point. So it's just fighting back and forth, back and forth. Right? To me, it's looking, because of the 5 minute, it's looking bearish. But again, it has to break 390. If it doesn't break 390, this thing is just going to keep bouncing off 400. Dom's still just slowly moving. Okay, now she's getting a little bit speedy. Okay, she's getting violent now. Okay, ooh, wow, she's getting very violent. Whoa, what was that? Now the Dom is going crazy down here at 390. Okay, here we go. Dom's going crazy at 390. It's either going to break 390 or it's going to bounce hard off of it. But for the break, you need to see the candle closure. Next would be 385. So this is why I said like it's looking bearish to me just based off what the 5 minute wants to do. The action lines want to cross down. This thing just wow. Like, I mean, that was technically, these all three were technically A plus plus setups. 1, 2, 3, and that one's the one that raced down to the level. And there's the bounce. Not a strong bounce. I want to see this 5-minute candle close below 390. This candle closes below 390, it's got room to run. Then it has to break 85 next. Volume is very low. Yep, it is very low. It's just chop, right? And you have to wait. You just have to be patient. And if it breaks 390, then you need to see it stay below. Look at that. Look at that. A huge bounce off of 93. Back to 404. I only have 93, 86 1 minute level, then empty space, no levels until 89, 97. And that's for which one's that for, guys? You guys looking at like silver or something? Ooh, look at that. Silver did bounce. Ooh, look at the 2 minute on silver. Ooh, 1 minute on gold gave a nice little signal there. Looks like silver's 2 minutes actually, like, except for this guy. I'm not a fan of the bigger candles though. They get really wonky. Still uptrending, so obviously you want to be cautious. And let's look at that fight. Look at where NQ bounced. That level held, right? It needs to stay underneath 404 still. A 5-minute bounce right at the blue candle too, right? This whole area held now. It could just range again. This could just start ranging again. Entered its previous range zone, right? This is where you can really read these movements. Like, you can see where it's going to potentially go. You can wait for the breaks. Don't get eaten up. Rejecting 404. The Dom's going nuts around 404. It went nuts. I just saw a violent pull down here. Volume is low. When setting the quantum ranges, do you base it off the most recent blue and purples? Yes. Wicks, I count the wicks. I count the wicks trip. So like this, right? This gave you a range, right? What's your range here? Let's get rid of all these other lines for now, right? Because we know where our barriers are. Obviously, it built a ton of bearish barriers, right? So you would have your top of purple, bottom of blue. That is your range, right? There's your break. Here's your retest. Retest broke back in, failed at the level. Now you have another break and a little bit of a retest. And where do you have room to go? 93 again needs to break through this. 1 minute candle needs to close through this. And then you want to see the 5 minute close below 390. And then we might have a break of that 84. But this is your range. You only want them to be within the same price range. You want them to be flat. Right back here, it would have been this. Right? This is what it would have been back here. You want them to be flat. This technically broke it, right? Popped back in and tested a couple times. Could not break back up. You guys see it, right? It did pop back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And what did it do? It formed a new one. It just formed a new one. And now this is your current range, right? But you can see it. It's stuck in here. Breaks below, then you have some room. If it breaks above, it needs to break 411, 418, 423 to potentially test 37. 5 minute is pushing down still. It's trying to push down. It looks like it wants to make that cross down, but the freaking 1 minute, look at the 1 minute, just crossing all over the place. So this whole 400, 406 area. The 2 minute wants to go up. I don't care about the 2 minute too much, but you want to see if when all three line up, you do get a push much better. But there it goes again. Now, can it stay under 393 this time? Let's see. All right, there was a little bit of advanced read there. On that retest of that level, that 404, and your stop would have been above 410, 411. That would have been a nice little 10-pointer. Already. 241 RR on that guy, right? Look where it's holding on to again, right? The candle closed above. Now, this one's pushing forward, but that's not a candle closure for me. I have to have a candle close. Can it go? Yeah, it could. It could go, but when I'm looking for level plays, I want the candle to close below. That 5 minute is trying to really curl down. All right. Wow. She's getting violent now here, down here. The Dom's going crazy down here in the 80s. It is going crazy down here in the 80s. Pulling up every time it touches that 84 area. And again, that's our level, 85, 84. There's your pull up. Look at that. This 5 minute has to close below there. Has to close below 390. The DOM is starting to react down here. It is starting to speed up. It is what, 8:57, so it's about an hour. An hourly close is about to happen. So is that why it's reacting? Oops, my 38.28 loss turned into 320 what? Oh no, you entered on NQ. Hey, I would delete the NQ from your if you're trading on TradeAvate, I removed NQ from it completely. I don't see 5 minute levels for silver. Is that right? Right now, if you're at current high, right, we are at all-time highs. Right? The next 5 minute levels are all the way down here at 30, 89, 89.25. Current all-time highs, you only have that 938.90 that kind of formed and then slightly broke, but this level would still be an area for me. That area right here. This 993.855. But this is current all-time highs right now. And silver is up at 94.38.5. 1 minute's curling down, 2 minutes trying to curl down. Gold gave a nice little signal back to that level right there. Let's take a look at NQ. NQ now going back and forth between 93 and 404. That's the current range spot. I'm going to get rid of that line. That line is no longer valid for me because it did break. So now it's just the levels. 404, 93.50. The 2 minutes trying to curl up. 5 minute currently held. Looks like it doesn't want to break it yet. All right. Do you remember mastering just the 1 and 5 first? No, the 2 is not that important, Chase. The 2 is not that important. It's just for added, like when it's like, think of it like a slot machine, Chase. Like I don't look at the 2 minute a whole lot. The 2 minute adds like a little bit of, if all three have levels in that same area, then the area becomes a little interesting. That's all it adds to it, like a tiny bit of strength here. But when you like see the signals all appear on the 3, right? You see it appear on the 1, so you get in on that, and it looks like the 2 wants to do it too, and then the 5 is also heading that direction. It's almost like you're hitting the slot machine, right? You have the 777, so you see the first 7 on the 1 minute, the second 7 on the 2 minute, and then you have your runner running on that 5 on that number, that third 7, right? And then that 5 minute just pushes it further, and your runner tends to run. So that's how I've been playing it. Like I've been playing it, right? I'm still kind of testing it a little bit. This is something that Kathy introduced me to. But as I gain more, and I share it with you guys here as well. Obviously, as I'm using it, and as I get more data out of it, I will definitely be making a video out of it. All right, first 5 minute 11. Do you recommend mastering just the? Ooh, look at that launch. Ooh, big blue. What's going on? Did someone say China's GDP thing? So China has news. So right now, right, look where it wicked up to. 411. This breaks back under 404. That could be a failed move right there. But if it closes above, then it needs to break 411. 2 minutes crossing up. I respected all this. Look at that. I respected 93. Respected that 5 minute blue. If it breaks over 411, holds, then it's going to contest the rest of this. 18, 22, and then potentially a little further up. Until then, let's see. 1 minute left. Let's see if it gets rid of this little zone right here. Is that why we were arranging? Did China have news? Do you master anything? Ooh. Ooh. Whoa. Big bluey. The DOM's going nuts. I'm just looking at the DOM. Do you remember mastering the one? Okay, thank you. Checking trade now because we are all-time highs. Yes, absolutely. Volume is low. When setting the quantum ranges, you base it off the most recent bodies. I find when IL are kinky, get false signals. Yeah, when the action lines are kinky, yes, Trina, you do. Especially when they're like looking all funky. Whoa, what is going on with NQ right now? Chinese GDP coming in. Okay, that's what that is. Chinese GDP. That's okay. So it is the Chinese GDP. Okay, look at this. See, right? You saw the big push. This is why these candles are so freaking important to me. Look where it wicked. Closed below. Now retesting that 96. All right, levels and candles. Levels and candles. I think it's going to push and test some of that wick on the 2 minute here. If not, like I said, if it breaks that 96, 93, the 5 minute to me still wants to go down. The 5 minute to me still wants to go down. If this fails to fill this wick, that's a very, very failed bullish move. But again, I don't look at the 2 minute a whole lot, so I'm not even really looking at that. But this is something when I see these kind of empty wicks, they do tend to get tested a little bit. But on the 1 minute, it looks like a hell of a failed bullish move. All right, let's see economic data. Where do I find like news for like China and stuff? Is there like a particular place I can look for that? Because I think those will be interesting. I would love to play like news reads because I didn't even know there was a news. That news read was literally would have been just hold 93. This would have been like MOC. Like I play openings and news very similar to playing MOC. I look for level holds, level reactions. That's it. Bloomberg economic calendar. Okay, thank you, CTBO. I'm gonna put that in my. I'm gonna save that in my. Let me save it in here actually right now. Bloomberg economic calendar. I always rely on the stuff we have at MOT, and I know we don't put like the international news stuff. Only the U.S. news. Here it is. Ooh, yeah, this is awesome. Okay, I'm adding this to my bookmark. Economic calendar. Nice, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. So we got 1850, JPY. Dang, there's a lot of news tonight, actually. Industrial. Looks like that's it. The next is capacity utility at 2330. Japan. So a bunch of news just came out. Retail sales. Then Monday at 3 in the morning, we had World Economic Forum annual meeting. Core CPI, Europe. Oh, Europe has news today. Ooh, okay, I'm saving that. All right. And Forex Factory. Thank you, guys. All right. That's a very failed bullish move right there. Very failed bullish move. Still needs to break through these levels. That 2 minute closes below that 99. That could be telling as well. So this one got broken. That one's no longer valid. This is the only one that's valid right now. That's 422 purple candles, the only one that's valid at the moment. 422. And then the one above that. Ooh. Hell of a failed bullish move. All right. Oh, are we going to get the, if the 1 minute triggers here, we might get it. It might start coming if the 1 minute does start triggering. If it breaks below 390, this is about to cross down. It might not give the signal on the 1 minute. It's giving on the 2, but if this thing starts breaking under 390 here, this last 5 minute candle, we might have that push down. How much though? It needs to break under 80 to really go. It is struggling to break 90 currently. All right, the 2 minute did not form. The 2 minute did not close at the level yet, so it's still not valid. It needs to close below 390 as well. So that 390 is the whole area. Wow, it's holding on to 390 for dear life. Let me turn off that crosshair. There we go. So you guys able to kind of read this chop right now with that 5 minute level holding below and all those 1 minute levels as well? Is everyone kind of learning something? Everyone kind of seeing it all? And then Q, at least at the time, I mean, there's more movement than I thought there was going to be. Oh, yeah, look at gold, right? Gold did have an A plus plus, but it's got to push through that, right? Nice 67 entry. Took up like 20 ticks so far out of it, but again, that risk was pretty up there. Silver, silver's there it goes. Silver broke a level. Silver did the same thing. Little pullback, nice pull up. This is like 40, 40 to 50. That's like $100 on just one mini. If you got in on the retest down here, that's like almost $200. You're risking, you were risking just about, if you do it just a level play, 39. Yeah, like 70, $80 on that with one mini. Wouldn't be horrible. Wouldn't have been horrible. Not right now, obviously. There's gold. Gold's touching the level. Oh, the 2 minute. Okay, here we go. So gold actually did. The two signals lined up. Look at this, right? This is. If this breaks through that level, you're going to get more room. If not, it's going to stall out here. But there's the 1 and the 2 lining up. Now it needs to break through that if it's going to keep going up. Break through that 73.1, then you'll get some more push. NQ bounced off that bottom of that 390 area so far again. It's just kind of like slowly pushing down, but it's not going with force. All right. Anybody have any questions before I call it a night? Just wanted to pop in, do a little quick session with y'all. Obviously, low volume. It's Martin Luther King. The regular market's closed. This was like just kind of like a more of a study session because I did want to at least give one of these regular study sessions. And then, hopefully this week after tomorrow, I'll be able to pop in. We'll do another day on the challenge. I don't like to do challenges on short days because the volume's questionable, even though it did move a little bit. There was some movement. So it's not too bad, right? Silver is actually reacting to gold rejecting this level right now. Like silver pulled down a little bit on that rejection on that level right there for gold. And NQ is just hanging out. Like, look at all these crosses all over the place. 408, all of this. This on the 1 minute when I see stuff like this is just horrendous. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. So, like, obviously, this whole opening was ugly because of that gap down. But I think this is going to come down some. That 5 minutes going to cross down. It could test that 380 and then maybe flip. If it does not break 380 and continue. If it breaks 380 and goes, there's so much room down. Obviously, I have a 2 minute level here at 380 as well. So, I mean, that 380 has to go. All right. In your opinion, when is the best time to trade with quantum? When there's movement, right? Just like when there's any kind of setups, right? If volume is low, I definitely like the 2 minute on NQ during Asia. Other than that, you want to see flow, right? For the action lines to flow correctly, you want to see good, clean movement. You kind of need a little bit of volume for that to happen. But there are times where the higher time frames flow pretty nicely, and you could get some movement off of that. Other than that, almost any time I catch setups, right? If you're patient with the quantum ranges, just wait for the quantum ranges. I showed you guys those zones to keep an eye for where all these crosses occur. Because that when the wider it is, the uglier it is. Avoid that. Don't trade that. You're just gonna get eaten up, right? If the whole area holds, okay, there's an attempt to a push up, but you want to avoid that, right? Don't use that as your end all be all. That's just a little added thing to kind of have in there to look where to be cautious. Where all that chop is formed, there's gonna be a ton of back and forth, and you're gonna get eaten up if you're not catching the bottom. You have to be very cautious. So far, the bottom is this 390, 380 area. Like that's the bottom at the moment, right? But you can kind of see right now it's just stuck. There was news, so it might play around in this news candle for a while, right? There's barriers for it to get through if it wants to go up, and then there's these barriers down here, this 390 for this 390 and 3 area for it to go down, right? For the time being, if you're trying to play the guessing game, you're gonna get eaten up. Like unless you're like playing the again, right? If it follows 390, you push the up. If it goes up to 390, then it needs to break 22. Right? If it fails 22, then we're coming back down. But if it breaks 22, then you're gonna test the 37 area. So you have to be able to kind of point all these little areas where you have, right? That's how you scalp. All these little junction areas where you can get points. How much room do I have from this point to the next point? And there it goes again. There you go. All right. You got to get used to that camera. So I trade all the freaking time, Maddox. So Mad Dog, Maddox. I trade all the time. I can find a setup at any time, but I have to be patient for it. Right? There's days in Asia where it's going to be just pure quantum ranges. I'm just going to wait for the ranges to form, and I want to play those because guess what? If I saw too many A plus plus failing, and the levels are tight, then I'm also going to avoid that. So you always have to kind of be visually looking at where you have room. That's the key to the setups to any strategy. Do I have room for it to run? Right? You're playing market structure from one point to another point. There's all sorts of way to play things, but I'm not looking for a big play. I'm looking for those 10, 15 points to get me to potentially my runners where they start eating. And then my runners start eating, then it's great. But if I don't have room for 15, if there's no room for it to go 15, 20 points, right? I'm not looking for that 15, 20 points. I just want to scalp the 10 to 15 and then trail. And if it breaks through that area, great. If it doesn't, you know what? I still collect it. And I can do that a couple times. When there's good volume, like tonight, there's been multiple 10, 15 point scalps you could have taken here and there. But you have to be able to identify those points. And the part of identifying that is being patient. Wait for those areas to form. Wait for those levels to start showing that strength. Right now, that 393 is an area of strength. Like hit once over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And obviously, you also the other confluence, right? The 5 minute blue candle right here too, at 392, right? It's held. Like look at this, that blue candle here, 1, 2, 3, 5 minute candles have held so far. Does it mean it's going to go up? No, it doesn't. It just means that this is an area where it's going to potentially keep bouncing until it finally breaks. Discord gave me issues. Did he answer if this was recorded? It was recorded, Nick Riv. I did record it. Yes, I did record it. I had to check. I had to go look at it. I really appreciate it. New to your indicator. I'm going to do homework on it, but this seems very awesome. Awesome, B Moose. Again, take your time, guys. Like, if you're new to this, take your time, right? Just learn the A++. Just learn what the A++ really is, right? And then again, learn how to be cautious, where to play them, where to not play them. We had news. News was coming. I didn't know. And when I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's ugly. That's ugly. That's ugly range. I wonder why it's ranging. Somebody said, oh, China's GDP thing, and that's why it was ranging. It was ranging because it was waiting for the news. If I knew that there was news, I would definitely have avoided any setups within 15 to 20 minutes of the news, up to 30 minutes. Like no setups unless it was like MOC, right? It has to hold a level. So for the news play would have been if it holds this 390 area, it's going to go up. And then where's the room for it to go up, right? 410, it breaks 410, then 418 if it breaks 418, then 422 if it breaks 422, 437, right? This is where it stalled out. It could not hold above that 422. That's where you got your wick. That's where you got your reversal. Here, right? This is why these candles are so important to me. All right, what did you have here? There's your break. There's your push up. Failed, bullish, bearish candle, right? There's your little move just off of that break right there, right? You see it over and over and over again. I drive a truck, so I'm just trying to find a consistent time to look for trades. No, that's good, Mad Dog. It varies. It just varies. It'll vary, and again, you don't want to open up your chart and then just randomly take a trade. You still have to be able to be like, okay, am I near a level? Like, if I'm near a level and the 1 and 5 minute are lining up, that's way better than if you're not near a level and then the 5 minute looks like it wants to push up and your 1 minute looks like it wants to push down. Then I'm like, no, there's no trade there because they're contradicting a little bit, right? Unless you're right at a level. If you're right at a level and they're kind of reading off a little bit, there's a little opportunity potential there. And you'll get more comfortable as you start really learning the system. And the system is super repetitive, like super duper repetitive. Yeah, the 5 minute just looks so freaking ugly. It's still in the 5 minute range. If you look at it, right? That news candle that came in at 9, it's still in the 5 minute range. It is still downtrending. But this thing has not come out of the 5 minute range. It entered it at 7:15. So we're 2 hours in a 5 minute range. Right? There's your 5 minute range, right? The bottom of the blue, the top of the purple. It has not really pushed up to the top side yet. It's pushed down to the bottom side a couple times, but it's held so far. It's held. And then you can kind of see, right? You could ignore the 2 minute and then just look at the 1 and the 5. And then you can also see, right, in the 1 minute, you have those levels right below at the bottom too. That also held. Right? That level held, created a new one. That level held. There's your push up, right? Failed bullish bearish move, pushed up, but still needs to keep breaking through that to keep going. You got your curl down coming now. So if it does break below 407 again, potential for it to come down. But it is all over the place. It is all over the place. This looks hella ugly to me still. The 5 minute is the big wide range right now. So this might be waiting for London now. At this point, I think it's waiting for London. Looks like there's some news tonight for London. It is about a 40-ish point range on the 5 minute. So it could mess around in there. All right, y'all. So I'm going to call it a night here. Be cautious. Please be cautious if you're trading tonight. Low volume because of Martin Luther King Day. Looks like there's some news in during London tonight. So be cautious of that as well. There it goes, pushing up a little further now. So just, I would honestly, either only play an eval you don't care about or play extremely small volume. Metals look like they're flowing a little bit better. Kinda looks like they're ranging now too, actually. Honestly, it looks like they're ranging now. Look, the advanced read on gold right here actually played out too. Bounced right off the level. So you can start seeing how everything does the same thing. Look at this. Look what gold is doing, right? How these levels play out. Look, it rejected that level down to this level, pushing back up. Now you can kind of see a little bit of an orb, right? You can treat the levels as an orb at this point. You got your midline, your bottom, your top. So when you start visualizing everything like that, it becomes so easy. It becomes so like you just patiently wait for certain setups. Your risk on this was super low. Your risk on this guy was super low. And you go with what you see, and guess what? You're gonna lose some here and there. That's normal. Just that's why sizing is important. And again, if you guys are questioning your size, go check out the pinned messages and go read the sizing I put in there for the challenge and stay consistent to that. Like stay as consistent to that as possible, and you'll start seeing how your losses become obsolete. Like those losses don't even matter at that point. All right, y'all. It's kind of a snooze fest now, so I'm gonna call it. Thank you again for joining me tonight. I appreciate y'all, and hopefully I'll be able to kick in for a lunch session sometime this week for day 4 or 5. I think we're day 4 of the challenge, the quantum challenge. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Sleep tight. Trade safe. Peace out. Oh, YouTube. Guys, like this video, like the content, please like, subscribe, tickle the bells, do all that fun stuff, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.